Hello and welcome to Site That Sells, a workshop that's going to show you how to turn your website into a client-generating machine. This workshop is for you if you have a service-based business and if your website is not giving you the results you want. It's also for you if you're getting ready to build a website, but you're not entirely sure what to include on your website or where to even design your website. What this workshop will cover is the importance of website strategy and structure, how to optimize and set up your website to attract new clients consistently, how to create your lead generation strategy for consistent client inquiries, and how to structure your sales funnel and optimize it so it works for you 24/7. If we haven't met before, my name is Ana Lea. I'm the owner and creative director behind Lea Design Studio. I'm a web designer, tech expert, and business strategist with over 14 years of experience working as a web designer with both small businesses and six-figure companies. So first, let's talk about the website strategy and structure. Your website should be clear, concise, and to the point. The key things that you need to remember about your website is that you only have around 8 seconds to capture someone's attention. So you need to make it super clear what you do and why they should care. Your website is not just a placeholder. It's your best marketing tool that should help you convert visitors into clients. And similarly, your website is not really about you. It's about your client. That's why your website copy and your website in general should be primarily visitor focused. If you want a big picture overview of how website strategy works, it's pretty simple. We focus on driving traffic to your website, we nurture your audience, and then we convert them. In other words, you have to create content that drives visitors to your website and gets them onto your list. Your website should become the main hub of all activity and of all brand touchpoints. This is where you continually want to drive people to, not your Instagram profile, not your Facebook profile. You want to drive them to your website. And then you want to share value and nurture them with a simple email sequence once you get them onto your list. And then you convert them into clients on a discovery call and you continue engaging with them, you feed your funnel continually, and you encourage repeat purchases. The reason why this works is because 98% of the website visitors will not be ready to buy from you on the first visit. That's why you need to capture them. You need to have something that actually gets them to sign up for your email list so that you can continue nurturing that relationship. Otherwise, they will leave and go to your competitor who maybe has a clearer website, a clearer path, and a clearer action of why they should sign up for their email list, rather than just simply hoping that they will come to your website, see your awesome offer, and buy it immediately. They need about 7 touch points before they're ready to buy from you. Or in other words, they need to consume about 7 hours of your content before somebody's ready to actually buy from you. And getting them onto your email list gives you ample time to engage with them. So now that you know that, let's talk about elements of a site that sells. So this is what your website must include. You want to have consistent branding and lots of white space for improved readability. You also need 5 core pages, which is your homepage, about page, services page, blog, and contact page, plus extra pages for your sales funnel, the landing page, and the thank you or application page. On top of that, you also want to make sure that your website has clear and compelling calls to action, as well as any other legal pages that are necessary to be compliant with all the different privacy laws. And you want to make sure that you have a cookie notice bar because that's part of being compliant with the law. And then, of course, it needs to have email sign-up forms to make sure that we are actually bringing them into that sales funnel, into your client application funnel so that we can nurture them and convert them. So how do you optimize your homepage? Your homepage is essentially a doorway to all the other pages on your website. In other words, it needs to give them a brief overview, a summary of what your brand is all about, and what they can expect to find, and what kind of services or products you have to offer. The most important thing is that you want to place your main call to action in the hero section above the fold. Then you also want to make sure to list out top 3 benefits of working with you, as well as provide them with short blurbs about your services or products. On top of that, your homepage should also include testimonials and social proof to build the know, like, and trust factor, because before people buy from you, they actually need to trust you. You want to make sure to include your short bio, which points them to your about page, and then you want to have a lead magnet section that allows them the opportunity to sign up for your email list. Because as we mentioned before, 98% of the visitors will not be ready to buy from you immediately, so you want to have a way to stay in touch with them and to nurture the relationship further. As far as your About page goes, you need to remember that your About page is not really about you. It's actually about your ideal client, and everybody who comes to your website will be in the mindset of what's in it for me. So your About page should be structured in such a way that it focuses on the pain points that your ideal client has, and it also needs to share what makes you the perfect person to help them. You can also include testimonials and social proof, and it is highly recommended to link to your services and other pages on your site on your About page. And then, of course, you also need a lead magnet section to maximize the chances of them signing up for your email list. As far as your services page goes, there are a few ways to approach this. The first way is that if you have vastly different services, so for example, let's say that you are a copywriter and you offer website copy and email copywriting. Those are two different services. In that case, you want to have a general overview page for your services that lists all of them on that page. And then you want to have a more sales-focused page for each of your individual services. However, if you only offer email copywriting, but you have different packages such as weekly newsletter or sales emails or launch copy or something like that, then it's fine to have just one services page that lists different packages. But you still want to make sure that that one service page is more sales focused and focuses on the benefits that your services provide. If you sell several different courses, then you'll want to have a separate sales page for each course. And then, of course, each services page or sales page needs testimonials and social proof to increase conversions. And you also want to focus on benefits and transformation that your services or your course or your product provides. As far as your blog page goes, you might be wondering if blog page is really necessary, and you might not even be inclined to blog. You might not even feel like you want to blog, but just because you have a blog page, that does not mean that you necessarily have to include written blog posts. If you prefer a podcast, then you can have transcripts of each of your podcast episodes. Or if you'd rather have something like a YouTube channel, you can have a blog page that provides a transcript of each of your videos as well as an embedded video into each individual blog post. However, I do recommend you have a blog page with long-form content because that is one of the best ways to build your SEO, establish your authority in the niche, and drive traffic to your website. Your main blog page should include your lead magnet, and each blog post should include a clear call to action at the end. And don't be afraid to include sign-up forms multiple times throughout the blog post, especially if those blog posts are on the longer side, because you want to give as many chances as possible for somebody to actually sign up for your email list. As far as your contact page goes, you want to include a short sentence that tells them when they can expect a reply, so that you set expectations right from the beginning and so that they are clear on when they can actually expect to hear back from you. You might also want to include a short FAQ section to minimize the amount of emails you receive, especially if you get asked the same questions over and over and over again. It's a good idea to include a short FAQ section before your contact form so that you minimize the amount of emails that you receive and that you have to reply over and over again. I also recommend having a lead magnet section at the bottom so that, again, they can sign up for your email list. And if you want to, you can also include testimonials and a photo of your smiling face to boost the conversions on this particular page. Now, we talked a lot about creating your lead magnet strategy, as this is the primary driver for actually having a website that converts. And the key things that you want to remember here is that the average time people spend on websites is around 45 seconds. And as I've mentioned before, if there's no reason for them to stick around, they're likely to leave and never return. Lead Magnet solves that problem by allowing visitors to sign up for your email list and increases your chances of capturing lead from only 2% to 15% or better. And as mentioned before, it gives you ample opportunities for you to engage with them and to nurture them and to provide them with more touch points with your brand. So you might be wondering, what should your freebie be? And your freebie doesn't need to be complicated. It can be something as a free checklist, PDF, course, masterclass, challenge, a roadmap, etc. But most importantly, it needs to be easy to consume and it needs to give them a quick win. Ideally, you want to solve a micro problem that your ideal client is facing, and it has to be related to your paid offer. Otherwise, this whole strategy falls apart. So let's go through a few freebie examples. So let's say that you are a sales copywriter or a sales page designer. Your copy could be high converting sales pages, do's and don'ts. If you are a health coach, your freebie could be 15 gluten-free dinner ideas that only use 3 ingredients. If you are a social media manager, your freebie could be 10 steps to a 6-figure TikTok following. And I want you to notice how all of these examples are highly targeted and highly specific. We're not going broad here, we're going specific, and we are solving one micro problem that your ideal client might have. Once you have your lead magnet, you need to focus on driving traffic to your lead magnet. And the easiest way to do that is by using long-form content marketing. So I want you to start by brainstorming a list of topics that you can talk about that are related to your offers. And I want you to think about, what does your ideal audience need to know about your offer before they are ready to buy? And then, based on that brainstorming list that you have, you need to create high quality, valuable content on a regular basis. And like I said, it does not have to be blog. It can be videos, it can be podcast episodes, it can be lives, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Then I want you to decide how often you'll post and create your content calendar for the next 90 days and stick to a realistic schedule. It makes no sense for you to decide, oh, I'm going to post 5 days a week on my blog, or I'm going to create 5 videos per week, if you can't keep up with it. It's a hell of a lot better to create content only once a week or once every other week, if that's all you can manage, but then be consistent with that rather than set yourself up with an ambitious content schedule that you can't really keep up with. And then my next suggestion is to choose 2 platforms, one for searchable long-form content and one for visibility. The one for visibility will be a social media platform that you feel most comfortable with. So this could look like blogging and Pinterest, or YouTube and Instagram, or blogging and TikTok, or YouTube and TikTok. You want a place where you can share that long-form content and drive traffic to that long-form content to give it the initial boost in traffic that it needs until search engines catch up with it and actually index it. So essentially, you want to create content for your searchable platform first and then repurpose it on your visibility platform. And the way you do that is, for example, if you have a 10 tips blog post or 10 tips video, this can turn into 10 individual Instagram posts or 10 individual Instagram reels or TikToks, or it can turn into a 1 carousel, or it can turn into 10 pins. You get the idea here. The object is to work smarter and not harder. And then you need to feed your funnel daily. It must be a daily habit, a non-negotiable item on your to-do list. So even if you create long-form content only once a week, repurpose it in such a way that you show up regularly on your visibility platform and feeding your funnel on a daily basis. And this is precisely why focusing on long-form content works, because you get plenty of material to post throughout your week on your visibility platform and drive traffic to your website. The tech that you will need to bring this to life is Canva or Google Docs to create your lead magnet. Website platform, I recommend Squarespace if you're just getting started. Email marketing provider like Flowdesk or ConvertKit, and then an appointment scheduler like Acuity Scheduling or Tidycal or similar. So now with all those pieces in place, it's time to actually create and optimize your sales funnel. Before we dive into this, I want you to remember that I've said before, people need to hear or see a message 7 times before they're ready to take action. And that's why when we focus on driving traffic to your website, that's optimized with calls to action and a freebie landing page, we get them onto our email list, which gives you those 7 touch points or 7 times that people need to hear from you before they're ready to buy from you. So in essence, your funnel looks something like this. You drive traffic to your website. That is optimized with calls to action and a freebie landing page. Once they sign up, they're redirected to a thank you page that has an application form to book a discovery session. Then they're added to an email nurture sequence that has up to 5 emails that all point back to your discovery session application, and you get them on that discovery call, and that's when you actually close the client. So where do you place these opt-in forms? You want to add one as a button in your header area, on your homepage, above the fold on every page, except for your individual sales pages, because those should be focused strictly on the program itself or on the service itself and should not have any opt-ins. The only call to action there is to get them to the checkout page where they can actually make a purchase, or if you're selling services, where they can actually apply to work with you. You can also add an announcement bar at the top of your page. You can add an opt-in in your footer. As I've mentioned before, in each blog post, you can also add pop-up forms or slide-in forms, and you can add exit intent pop-up forms as well. As far as how to actually promote your lead magnet, a few easy ways include adding it to your email signature, adding it to your social media profile bio, adding it as a link to your group profile or your Facebook page and group if you have your own, but also if you are a member of different Facebook groups, you can personalize your group profile for each group and you can link to that lead magnet in your group profile. You should also mention your freebie at the end of every blog post, podcast episode, and YouTube video or live. And then my favorite way is to create pins for it on Pinterest and let Pinterest drive traffic to your website. The next step in your funnel is to set up your nurture sequence. And you don't want to overcomplicate this. 5 emails is long enough to get you started. The first email should deliver the freebie, welcome them into your world, and share your why. A second email should share the story of how you got started and invite them to apply for your discovery session. In the third email, you want to share your best content and invite them again to apply to your discovery call. In the fourth email, you want to share a client success story or a case study and again invite them to apply. And then in the fifth email, you want to answer any objections that they might have, explain what happens in a discovery call with you, and then you want to invite them to apply to a discovery call. As far as your discovery session or discovery call goes, your email sequence already did the majority of the selling for you. So this discovery session should really be about vetting the leads and seeing if you'd be a good fit to work together. You want to answer last-minute questions, and I also recommend setting up some qualification questions on your application form to help you decide if the client is a good fit right from the jump, so that you're not wasting their and your time as well. As far as your landing page goes, you want to remove any header, footer, and any other distractions, and the goal of your landing page is to get people on your email list, so anything else is unnecessary. You want to include a freebie headline that speaks to a desired result. Tell them why they should sign up for this freebie, what they get out of it. And you also want to make sure that your descriptions are short and concise, and you want to use clear calls to action. And then you also want to include at least two sign-up forms, one at the top and one at the bottom of the page. As far as your thank you page goes, the goal is to keep them engaged with your brand as long as possible. So you want to remove any header, footer, and any other possible distractions. I recommend including celebratory images that congratulates them on taking the first step. And then I highly recommend having a booking calendar and giving them an opportunity to book a call right there. Not everybody is going to take you up on this offer, but some people might. So it's a good idea to just give them an option to book right then and there. And then once you have that in place, you want to test and tweak your landing page. You want to keep an eye on your landing page stats to make sure that it's working for you. Remember that you can always play around with headlines and calls to action to see what works better, but I recommend having at least 500 people going through your sales funnel before making any changes, because without any significant people going through your sales funnel, you won't really have an accurate picture of how well it's converting. Data that you want to measure and keep track of is the landing page conversion rate, which should be between 20 and 30%, but ideally higher. The website bounce rate, which should be below 50%. Your first email open rate, which should be between 20 and 50%. And then email click-through rate, which is around 2 to 3%. You also want to keep track of your discovery call booking rate, which is ideally should be above 40 to 50%. And then you also want to keep track of your close rate and unsubscribe rate. So to recap, the way this website strategy works is we focus on driving traffic to your conversion optimized website. We get them to sign up to a lead magnet that solves a micro problem. We add them to a nurture sequence and a thank you page with an application form. And that nurture sequence basically points them to booking a discovery call with you. And this discovery call is where the magic happens and where you actually convert browsers into buyers. So now you've got the clarity and the structure you need to turn your website into a client generating machine. If you haven't already, then grab the Site That Sells workbook that is linked in the description down below. It walks you through each step we covered in this workshop so you can apply it to your own website. And if you want to skip the tech overwhelm and launch faster, then my Squarespace website templates already have this strategy built in. You can customize one in one weekend and have a site that sells on autopilot. So download your workbook below, check out the templates linked in the description, and start turning your website into a client winning machine. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.